Hello and welcome back to more Phoenix Wright Attorney. Well, in the last episode, we had a very intense trial ladder in which we got Lena Skye to confess not that she was the murderer, but that she did in fact falsify evidence in order to aid the team in putting Joe Dark behind bars 2 years ago in the SL9 incident. That's what it was. I got confused with DL6. So yeah, we also uncovered that Neil Marshall is Jake Marshall's brother, and he was one of the victims in this case. We also discovered that Emma and Lena were both witnesses in this case, and I'm assuming we're going to uncover a whole lot more about all of that today. Oh, and one more thing. It is only possible for the murderer to have been the 777-777-7 number, which, unfortunately, said number belongs to somebody far above all of our pay grades, which in my estimation, seems to point to only one person, and that being the Chief of Police, Officer Gant. So, what was it? Is the name Damon Gant? I'm not actually sure. I think it's Damon Gant. Is it? Yes, it is. Damon Gant, 65 years old. Yikes. That is just about the only person left who it seems like it could be, and we have almost three full pages of evidence to support it, and it's going to get even longer this episode. This is it. This should be when we uncover everything, unless there's a whole other section that I don't know about. This should be, because up until this point there haven't been any more than 3 investigations, but there also haven't been any more than 1 trial per day, so, you know, this could be a whole other ballgame, who knows. But let's just get started. February 24th, 3:12 p.m., Writing Company Law Offices. I'm so sorry, Mr. Wright. I'm sorry for what my sister said. Drastic crimes require drastic measures. That's just the way it is. We did what we had to do in order for him to get the verdict he deserved. I didn't know. I never knew that the SL9 incident was just another name for the Joe Dark killings. Sounds like everyone's heard about these killings but me. Lena wanted Dark convicted so badly. That's why she used me. That's why she used what happened to me. What do you mean, what happened to you? It's all there in the file. Joe Dark's last victim was Prosecutor Neil Marshall. When he murdered Officer Marshall's brother, he left behind an incriminating piece of evidence. But what did you have to do with those killings, Emma? On the night Prosecutor Joe Marshall was murdered, Joe Dark tried to kill me. Oh! What? He tried to kill you? Officer Marshall's brother, Neil, was only trying to save me. So that means yes, I was a witness in the Joe Dark trial. I didn't see that. Wait, but we already knew that. We didn't know that we know that Joe Dark tried to kill her, but we knew that she was a witness. That's in the file. It's right there. It's right there. Anyway, okay. What else you gotta say? It's SL9 incident. It happened 2 years ago. It was right about this time of year too. There was a terrible thunderstorm that day, unusual for the season. I was alone in my sister's office. We were planning to eat dinner together once she finished her work. Then suddenly, this terrifying man came bursting into the office. Joe Dark. It seemed like he was running from someone. He pulled out a knife and screamed at me. I didn't know what was going on. Just then, Prosecutor Marshall showed up. Jake Marshall's brother. Joe Dark tried to take me hostage, but before he could, Mr. Marshall tackled him. Then what happened? I'll never forget it. Lightning struck and the lights went out. Suddenly, a bolt of lightning flashed outside the window, lighting up the office for an instant. What I saw then burned a permanent picture in my mind. I can still see it now. A permanent picture? Yeah, let's hear more about that permanent picture. Dark knocked down Mr. Marshall and raised his knife. Neil Marshall was stabbed right in front of this poor girl. I don't remember what happened after that. Apparently I passed out. When I came to, Lena was cradling me in her arms. Poor Emma, you've been through so much. I couldn't bring myself to testify about that instant. I tried, but the words just wouldn't come out. I drew a picture, but it wasn't any good. You drew a picture? 2 years ago, you must have been 14. That's understandable. You drew a picture, huh? Once it was all over, I made up my mind. I decided that when I grew up, I'd become a scientific investigator. I want to be able to fight crime with my testimonies, and find the evidence to make an airtight case. That way, Lena would never have to forge any. I see. I think I'm finally starting to understand what makes Emma tick. But there's still something that bothers me about that crime. I don't remember the moment when Dark stabbed Mr. Marshall. So you weren't able to testify about that? No, I was only asked about when I was attacked. That must be why she made up the crime. Made it up? You mean provided bogus evidence? The prosecutor's office wanted that guilty verdict so badly. Lena forged the evidence and Mr. Edgeworth used it. Edgeworth? Yes. But I'm sure he didn't know anything about it. He couldn't have known he was been given false evidence. Even so, that's when it all started. The rumors about Mr. Edgeworth, I mean, it's all my fault. If I could have just testified properly, none of this would have happened. So it's true. Even though he may not have known it, Edgeworth really was involved in falsifying evidence. After that case ended, Lena was never the same. She became cold like she is today. She must not have been able to face up to what she did, especially not to Emma. Something puzzling. There's something that's puzzling me, Emma. What is it? You said you were in Lena's office at that time, right? That's right. Why then would a serial killer come running in there? Not only that, but he was being chased by a prosecutor? Oh, there's no mystery there. Joe Dark had been taken in for questioning that day. Taken in for questioning? You mean by the police? Of course, this happened at the police department. He tried to run halfway through the interview, and he fled into my sister's office. But why did he run all the way over to your sister's office? Because the detective's offices in the questioning room are right across from the elevator. Across from the elevator? But Lena was the chief prosecutor, wasn't she? No, silly, didn't I tell you? 2 years ago, Lena was a detective. She was the best in the entire force. What? That's news to me. After the Joe Dark case, she was transferred to the prosecutor's office and made chief prosecutor. Lena used to be a detective? Better have another talk with her. Okay, so we go to the detention center then. Oh wait, no, is this gonna bring... Oh, we're gonna have to talk with Officer Meekins. No, we shouldn't, because I guess we didn't really prove him innocent. He did attack him, but I guess... I don't know, let's just hope it... Okay, good, it's Lena, because it could have been Lena or Meekins, because both of them have been here this week. Lena, Mr. Wright, it seems I keep causing you trouble. Falsifying evidence. I didn't think you were the type. Criminals don't mind playing foul. Why should we? But Lena, if you're wrong, an innocent person might be found guilty. Believe me, I understand the risks. Lena, Emma told me about you. Oh? About how you were a detective 2 years ago, and how the SL9 incident was the reason for your transfer to the prosecutor's office. That's right. Could you fill me in on the details? Especially about that unusual change of jobs? I suppose you have a right to know, Mr. Wright. A right to know? This guy is not impressed. Okay, today's trial. A lot of revelations were uncovered at the trial today, not the least of which was the fact that this case is largely connected to another one 2 years ago. Evidence from that case was stolen as well, though I expected as much. I know how obsessive Officer Marshall can be. That trial, it really wasn't fair, was it? I believe in you, Lena. I believe that no matter what happened, you'd always stick to the truth. It couldn't be helped, Emma. At that trial 2 years ago, I sold my soul. Well, all drama aside, the fact of the matter is at 5:15, there was no murder at the police department. Tell me it's not true, Lena, what the witness Miss Starr said. About you stabbing Mr. Goodman with a knife. Lena, I don't understand. Why won't you tell us? Emma, this doesn't involve just me. I don't think I've ever seen Lena look so fazed before. Okay, it's true. I was a member of the police force 2 years ago. She was amazing. They still talk about all the cases she and Chief Gant cracked together. Chief Gant? He was the deputy chief of police back then, but he still worked the crime scenes. Damon Gant, he was everything I aspired to be. They were the best team ever. They solved crimes before the reports could even be filed. Emma really idolizes her big sister, in case you haven't figured that one out already. But now you're chief prosecutor. What happened? I always planned on becoming a prosecutor. The reason I became a detective was to gain experience investigating crime scenes so you could use that experience in court, right? Gant's help in the SL9 case was crucial to its resolution. After that, he became chief of police and arranged my transfer to the prosecutor's office. Maybe I should ask more about this investigation of theirs 2 years ago. 2 years ago, I was second in command of the detectives investigating Dark. Second in command? That means the investigation lead was Damon Gant, right? Is that consistent with what we learned? Because I thought Bruce Goodman was the... okay, never mind. Executive investigators are those two, yeah. Alright. Yes, Deputy Chief Gant and I share the same office and the same investigation. We even had the same office. We led a team of the best detectives on the force. Detective Goodman, whose case it was, Jake Marshall and Angel Starr. It was the first time Marshall worked with his brother. He was quite gung-ho. Without a doubt, Joe Dark was the serial killer. We asked him to come in for questioning. We were desperate for evidence. That was when his final murder took place, when he tried to murder Emma. Prosecutor Marshall was trying to save me from Dark. You see, the first person who happened upon the scene of the crime was me. Now you tell us. Yeah, that would have been helpful information to know a little while ago. Damon Gant and Neil Marshall were the ones questioning Dark that day. The investigation was in its final stages, and Dark must have suddenly panicked. So he waited until Gant and Marshall let their guards down, then fled the room. From there, he ran straight to the office shared by Deputy Chief Gant and myself. That's where he found me. So you were the first person to run to the scene, Lena? It appears so. I was filing some papers while Gant and Marshall were questioning Dark. When I returned to my office, I saw 3 bodies on the floor and smelled blood. 3 bodies? Prosecutor Marshall, the victim, Emma, who had passed out, and the suspect, Joe Dark. During the struggle, it seems Mr. Marshall struck a final blow before he died. Joe Dark had incurred a minor concussion and lay unconscious. What did you do? To be honest, I panicked. I picked up Emma, carried her out of the room, and just held her. Can't blame her after all her sister must have gone through. After that, I placed Dark under immediate arrest. Let me get this straight. You were all involved in the SL9 incident? That's right. Quite a coincidence, I don't buy it. What are you saying? There's no way everyone involved in this trial was also involved in that incident just by chance. But that case was solved 2 years ago. At least one person went to extremes because they didn't believe it was truly solved. Officer Marshall. Yes, his action came as a surprise to me as well. Ever since his brother died, he's changed completely. I guess he wasn't convinced with the ruling against Joe Dark. Life doesn't end with the closing of a case. Everyone has to live the rest of their lives with their memories. That case just might not be over yet. Emma was assaulted by Dark at the police department, right? Yes, in the office that Damon Gann and I shared. The office that Mr. Gann now occupies by himself, the chief's office. Maybe we should have a look at the chief's office, the site of the final SL9 murder. With pleasure. Let's go to none of these places. Let's go to Wright Company Law Offices, and there we go, that's the police department entrance. February 24th, police department. Okay, so what we've investigated. This is going to be our 3rd crime scene investigation. We investigated the scene of the crime in the prosecutor's office lot. We investigated the scene of the crime in the evidence room, and now we're going to investigate of Gant's office. We've been all over the map in this case. This has been quite the journey, I must admit. And let's see how it all. I'm trying to think like how it's all going to connect, because we know that the prosecutor's we know that that the police department murder was BS, and we believe that the prosecutor's office lot murder is BS, and we have the evidence to prove that Angel Star's testimony is phony. And the only reason why the verdict hasn't been passed down immediately is just because Jake Marshall we have reason to believe that he was actually murdered at 4:20 in the evidence room, and now we just need to investigate the chief's office to figure out like what's going on and how it all connects. So it's gonna be interesting to see how this all shakes out. Howdy, Bambina. Oh, Mr. Marshall. I never thought things would turn out this way when I woke up this morning. Okay, Sarah. You never know where life will lead you, eh, Bambina? I should have known my luck would run out when old Billy dried up this morning. Billy? Must be his pet cactus. Say, where are you headed? Just over to the prosecutor's office for a little interrogation. It's a voluntary appearance, but we all know I won't be coming back. Sorry, but you can't go in the evidence room today, partner. But Mr. Marshall, why did you do it? Why do prospectors head west? If ever there was a case I needed to know the truth about, it was that one. Before you turn yourself in, Mr. Marshall, would you mind telling us exactly what happened? Looks like I won't be getting a steak lunch today. Okay, Dark trial. Something was fishy about that trial from the beginning. It wasn't just me either. All the detectives thought so. What do you mean, fishy? Some of the facts reported were inconsistent with the evidence we found. For example, the murder weapon. The murder weapon? You mean a switchblade knife with a broken tip? That was Joe Dark's, alright. But, in the initial autopsy report, a question was raised. A question? The blade of the knife was not a perfect match with the wound the victim sustained. What does that mean? It means there's a good chance that knife was not the murder weapon. However, in the report that was finally submitted, the possibility had been erased. Could the facts have been concealed with forged evidence? That case left behind scars on all of us. The scars that the SL9 incident left behind? Okay. So the murder weapon might have been falsified. But why would the murder weapon have been falsified? So the only reason I can think of as to why you would like report the wrong murder weapon is to frame Joe Dark. And the only reason you need to frame Joe Dark is if... Okay. So this is like crazy conspiracy theory, but what if Neil killed himself and had Lena help him? Like, he killed himself somehow and then asked Lena to help him. Like, she took Joe Dark's knife and put it into the wound so that when the police got there, it'd be like, look, Joe Dark did it again, and oh, he had a concussion, he lost his memory. That's like crazy conspiracy theory, but I cannot think of any other reason why you would falsify the murder weapon. Prosecutor Marshall.
I got the looks, but he got the brains. He was one of the best prosecutors around. I had just made detective when it went down. It was our first case together.
How old was he, your brother?
He was 27 at the time. He was awarded the highest honor that very day.
The highest honor? You mean the...
King of prosecutors.
I knew it.
What are you looking at me like that for? That's an honor for a prosecutor.
Mr. Marshall has been really close with his brother. The day the SO9 incident took place, that wasn't the same day as...
That's right. It was the day of the evidence transfer.
Interesting.
It was drizzling that morning, and by nightfall there was thunder. I can't believe 2 years have gone by already. I tried to steal the evidence so the case wouldn't die.
Apparently someone tried to stop you. Detective Goodman was murdered and the evidence locker was empty. Scars.
There was something going on behind the scenes in that case. We all knew that later. Every detective involved in that investigation, save one, was taken care of. Miss Starr was fired and I was demoted and boxed away in a tiny room.
What about Detective Goodman?
If they did something to him too, the commissioners would get suspicious. No, they were careful enough not to be too obvious.
They? Who are you talking about?
Don't get upset, Bambina. I mean Damon Gant and Lena Skye.
Gant and Skye.
The investigation lead, Damon Gant, and his second-in-command, Lena Skye. There wasn't a person on the force who hadn't heard of that duo. That case was the biggest step in both of their careers.
After the case ended, Lena transferred to the prosecutor's office, right?
Yeah, Damon Gant, the new chief of police, arranged for that to happen. She's never been the same since she left. Everyone who knew her said so. Chief Prosecutor Skye was totally different when she was a detective.
Now that he mentions it, Emma said something like that too. Tell me, what happened to my sister?
Sorry, Bambina, but her secret is too well guarded. I never found out.
Lena's secret. It all started 2 years ago.
So there you have it. That's my story. Did you enjoy it, partner?
It was certainly enlightening.
There's one thing for sure I found out in court today. That boy Edgeworth isn't my enemy. He was the one who used falsified evidence to get a guilty verdict. But someone else was the one who gave him that evidence and planned everything. That someone is Damon Gant. You don't believe me? Well, I don't blame you. I won't even be a patrolman after today. Too bad I won't be around to work with you when you become a real scientific investigator. Adios, Bambina.
It's honestly kind of sad. Like, at first I thought Jake Marshall was gonna be kind of a prick, but now I just feel bad for him. All right, well let's go to the criminal affairs department and get to the, because I'm assuming this is where the chief of police's office would be. This place is always pretty empty, but today it's deserted. That must mean everyone's busy solving crimes.
Oh, if you're looking for the others, they're all in the conference room.
Thanks. Oh wait, no, that wasn't the chief of police. That was just the chief. I have a surgeon on to my chest with the meeting trials trial. Harrison, I think festive is the word usually used for those. Sir, we'd like to have a look around Chief Gant's office. Just use the connecting hallway to the other building and take the elevator to the top floor. Really? You mean it's okay for us to go in there? I mean, we aren't police officers or anything. Hey, you're right, you can't go in there, it's off limits. Now I see where Detective Gumshoe gets his unique charm. Well, what are we waiting for? Let's head to the chief's office. Okay, move to the chief's office. Yikers. What is this, the Haunted Mansion? I mean, jeez, that's a big organ. Yikers. February 24th, Police Department, Chief's Office. Whoa. Where am I? In the Chief's office, silly. At least, that's what it said on the door. Check out that pipe organ. That's real, isn't it? Hey, I used to take organ lessons in kindergarten. They used to call me Little Miss Bach. Did they really? I thought I was a genius till they tried doing something. Oh. I never could remember where C was. Hmm? Oh.
Oh, it's you two.
Chief Gant! He put that paper he was reading in his desk.
So, Marto, have you been swimming lately?
No I haven't. I've been kinda busy lately.
I can appreciate that. I've had my hands full too with Mr. Marshall's misconduct.
Okay, I don't know how much of that you just missed in my audio cut out, but basically I just noticed that the thing in between Neil's head and Lena's head is the jar that we assembled in the second investigation, or partially assembled. There's still one piece missing, but the jar we almost entirely assembled is the thing that's between their heads. So that's interesting. I can't wait to see him put my finger on it though. Guarantee picture added to the court record. I hate the fact that he just stares at us indefinitely.
Anyway, I'd like to remember this all day, but there are matters that need my attention. I'm going to lock up here, so let's get out together.
Oh, but this office, it was a crime scene 2 years ago, wasn't it?
That case has long since been over. There's no need to investigate it anymore.
Uh-huh. Yeah, sure, buddy. Sure. If there's no need to investigate it, then I'm sure you'd have no problem with us just looking around, right? You've nothing to fear, right? Right? All the same, we'd still like to have a look around.
Perhaps you didn't hear me. I said there's no need to investigate it anymore. Now hurry up and get out! I have a meeting to attend.
Yeah, we'll be back later, buddy. Looks like we aren't welcome. It seems like the case isn't over with yet, after all. What do you mean? Chief Gian denied our request to search the crime scene. That must mean there's a reason he doesn't want us looking around in there. You mean like a clue? There's gotta be a way we can get inside the Chief's office. Can Gumshoe get us in there? Let's go ask him. I'm hoping Gumshoe can get us in there. Hey, pal! Detective Gumshoe, aren't you supposed to be in a meeting?
I'm, just taking a breather. My feet hurt.
From sitting so long?
Actually, from serving everyone coffee.
Sounds like Gumshoe's still out of the loop.
Say, haven't either of you seen Mr. Edgeworth?
Edgeworth? No. Why do you ask?
He's under fire from both the police department and the prosecutor's office. It's almost like battles between you two in court.
That sounds serious. Is it because of what my sister said?
That's basically what it all boils down to. That's falsified evidence 2 years ago. Now Mr. Edgeworth has the whole world after his blood.
Yikes. Okay, what else do you have to say about us? Edgeworth crisis. But why would Edgeworth be blamed? It's not like he knew that evidence was forward. Lena Sky is the guilty party here, isn't she?
Regardless, the prosecutor is responsible for the evidence they present in court. Not only that, but as you know, there have been a lot of rumors going around about Mr. Edgeworth. His amazing talent as a prosecutor kept him safe from those who don't like him. But now, with this,
Are there really so many people who hate him?
in our world, only those with talent rise to the top. Mr. Edgeworth not only has that, but he's young. There's no better recipe I know of for making enemies.
Hey, Nick, you up to good work?
Yes, sir.
Let's go out for lunch again sometime. My treat.
Yes, sir.
Go take you back to that joint sometime, okay, Dick?
Yes, sir.
Seems you don't have any problems with enemies.
Yeah, well, I'm careful not to stick out.
Uh-huh. Yeah, you're doing a real stand-up job of that one.
Anyway, I'm a bit worried about him. Under all this pressure, I'm afraid Mr. Edgeworth just might crack.
Okay. SL9 incident.
Actually, I took a look at the file earlier while the coffee was brewing.
Seems genuinely concerned for Edgeworth. Well, did you find out anything?
The only evidence Stark left behind was during his final attack.
His final attack, you mean?
When he killed Prosecutor Marshall, who was trying to protect some girl.
Me. It seems Detective Gumshoe never realized Emma was the girl.
That's when he left most incriminating evidence of all.
Well, what was it?
Oh, I think it had something to do with the murder weapon. Oh, I forgot. Look, it's real. It's all written somewhere here, okay?
His powers of recollection never fail to impress. Maybe we should show him the murder weapon. It might jog his memory. Okay, wait, there's one more thing we can talk about here.
Joe Dark was 42 at the time of the crime. He was just a run-of-the-mill businessman.
A businessman? What made him take to serial killing?
One day on his way home from work, he hit someone with his car.
with his car, so it was an accident.
An accident, yes, but it transformed him into an animal.
An animal.
He killed the man that witnessed the accident. Then he killed,
Something.
He killed off right then and just then, so he killed him too. Then when he was burying the bodies, a giant came across the scene and was killed as well. Finally, he turned himself in.
Seems he was a pretty careless animal.
Of course, this is all conjecture. There wasn't a single shred of evidence.
So he turned himself in.
Yes, but in the middle of his questioning, he fled and murdered his final victim, Prosecutor Marshall. That crime was witnessed by someone too, but luckily Darker was arrested on the spot. It's a good thing the last witness wasn't killed.
That last witness, aka Emma. Okay, you want me to show you the murder weapon? Well, I think it's page 2. Yeah, page 2. About this.
Hey, is that...
It has a tag attached to it with the label SL9 incident on it. I believe this would be the broken murder weapon you were speaking of.
What are you doing with that? Ever since that case was closed, the knife's been locked away in a locker.
On the day Detective Goodman was murdered, this suddenly disappeared from the locker and was found in Mr. Edgeworth's car muffler.
That's it! Now I remember what that incriminating piece of evidence was. When you showed me that knife, it all came back to me.
Well, what is it, Detective? Quick before you forget again. Nope, I didn't. Nope, back out. Didn't want to look at that. Okay, talk to me. What do you got? Murder weapon. This knife, it was Joe Dark's, wasn't it?
That's right. We traced it back to the store and bought it at, plus it had his fingerprints on it too.
But no one actually witnessed him using it to murder anyone, right?
That's where his luck ran out. When you take a good look at the knife, you'll see it's broken.
You don't have to take a good look to notice that.
Yeah, well anyway, take a guess where the broken off tip of the knife was found. That's what did him in.
Where was it?
The victim, Neil Marshall, was carrying it inside his own body.
Oh? And yet the murder weapon doesn't match the wounds in the body.
It was found deep inside the stab wound.
Did it match Dark's knife?
You bet, down to the last fiber.
That's pretty conclusive. Stabbed in the back, died from punctured heart and lung, a knife tip was in the wound. The broken tip was found in the victim's body, belonged to murderer Joe Dark.
Well, there you have it in a nutshell. That's all I know.
Can I ask you one more thing?
What is it? If it's money you need, you should ask Chief Gant.
It's not money, but it does concern the chief. His office is a crime scene, right? It's where Prosecutor Neil Marshall was murdered. The chief's out now and his office is locked, but we'd like to have a look around if that's okay.
Well, any detective's ID card can unlock the door.
What? Really?
But if I let a civilian in there, I'd be charged with a breach of trust.
Breach of trust?
Simply put, I'd be canned.
Oh.
Sorry, pal. I don't plan on getting fired because of you.
How about this ID card? It was Detective Goodman's.
That won't work either. The data was deleted the day he died.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. Because I was about to say, I think I mentioned in the last investigation, we didn't need anybody else's ID card. We could have just gone and using Goodman's ID, but that would make sense. So in other words, Gumshoe is our only chance of getting into that office. I wonder if there's something we could show him that would change his mind. Is there something we could show him? He cares about Edgeworth, so maybe we can go get something from Edgeworth that could convince him otherwise. Move. We need to go here. February 24th, yeah. No one's here today, not even a star. Everyone's probably busy looking into what exactly went down in the evidence room. That must be where the detectives are, but we proved in court today that on the day of the crime, no one was murdered in the evidence room at 5:15 p.m. Yeah, I thought we were making some headway on the case, but instead it looks like we just ended up making Lena look even more guilty. Hang in there, Lena. I've got to find all the answers by tomorrow. Okay, let's go here. Edgeworth, you got anything for us? February 24th, High Prosecutor's Office, room 1202. I wonder if Edgeworth is back yet. There he is. It looks like he's writing something. What are you doing here? He sure was quick to throw that paper on the floor. Okay, we're definitely looking at what that paper is in a second here. Tough day in court, huh?
I've had to live the past 2 years with rumors flying around. What's another allegation to me?
Cheer up, Mr. Edgeworth. I'm rooting for you. That's Edgeworth for you. Always trying to hide his real feelings.
So what do you want? Unlike some people, I don't have all day.
Okay, well, first things first. What is this? I wonder what he was writing before. Come on, Mr. Wright, let's take a look. Are you crazy? Edgeworth is sitting right there. Just distract him. I'll check it out. Hey, Edgeworth. Is that Detective Gumshoe out the window there? Oh no, he's falling to the ground.
Hold on. First let me see what this girl's doing crawling around my feet.
He didn't even look. What? Letter of...
If you're having trouble reading, I'll read it for you.
It says letter of resignation. Edgeworth, you don't mean...
I'm tired, right? I feel as if something inside me has died.
But Mr. Edgeworth, none of it is your fault.
I know the path I've walked. You don't need to tell me. And the path I've walked
hasn't been a just one. I can't forgive myself for what I've done. And no one else should forgive me either.
Uh-oh. I think he's serious. Mr. Wright, please, you have to do something. This letter of resignation. Oh, let me guess, we can give that to, Edgeworth's discarded letter of resignation. He's serious. I wonder, this is almost definitely the thing that we can, give to, the thing that we can give to Gumshoe to change his mind. Oh, you know what? Okay, I was just looking over here at this, and I think I might have just realized that the thing the game wanted me to notice about that photo was not that the unstable jar was there, but the trophy looks different than it does now. Because in here it has a sword and a shield. Again, it's funny because Pokemon's coming out. But that one on the couch only has a shield. So, maybe you can tell us about why that's different? This picture was hanging on the wall in Chief Gant's office.
Prosecutor Neil Marshall. He had just started making a name for himself. Looks like this was taken when he received the King of Prosecutors trophy.
Speaking of that, there's something that bothers me.
Yes?
The trophy Mr. Marshall is holding. It's a little different than yours.
Yes, you're right.
Ah, I remember now. Remember what?
That was what the official prosecutor's trophy looked like until 2 years ago. There's a story behind its design.
A story? Sounds interesting. Would you mind telling it to us?
It's simple, really. Contradiction. That's what the award's based on.
Okay. King of Prosecutors trophy.
This award originates from an ancient Chinese tale. In Chinese, the word contradiction is written with 2 characters. The first means harbored, and the second means shield. Have you heard this story?
I definitely have not. Me? Oh, sure. Everyone knows that. Why don't you tell it, though? For Emma's sake.
Very well. Long ago in the kingdom of Chu, there was an arms merchant. One day, he presented the king with 2 items. The first was a halberd he claimed could slice through any shield or armor. The second was a shield he claimed could withstand any weapon.
Oh, okay. Get it? Okay, so the trophy's based on the idea of contradiction, and this story is a living contradiction because a shield that is supposed to withstand any weapon, including the weapon, which is supposed to be able to penetrate any shield. It's like that's an infinite loop right there. Wait a minute. The pursuit music is actually playing. Those claims contradict each other.
Very perceptive. But then again, you've heard this story before, right? Anyway, as you mentioned, the very descriptions of these other items discredit them both. When the king pointed this out, the merchant was left speechless. And thus, the Chinese word for contradiction was born.
Oh, I see. So the chipped shield and the broken knife symbolize...
Precisely so. It symbolized the merchant's items. The ancient tale ends with the merchant at a loss for words, but it's our nature for us to pursue matters to their conclusion, even if it results in something as ugly as this.
Wow, thanks, Mr. Edgeworth. I learned something new today. That's funny. If that's so, then why were you only given a shield?
You have to ask Chief Gant. 2 years ago, he had the halberd part of the award abolished.
Chief Gant. Okay, why was that? Well, I don't know. Okay, anyway, we have the letter of resignation, so let's just go to Gumshoe and see what he has to say. Let me guess, Angel Star?
Excuse me.
Yep, there she is.
Would either of you care for a quarter pound of roast beef?
Miss Star. I guess she's out of lunches.
You certainly are the curious sort, aren't you? Kinda like the first person who sucked a cow's nipple to discover milk. Still, I never thought you'd go digging up that case from 2 years ago.
Everyone in this trial was involved in the SL9 incident. Not only that, but the murder occurred on the very day the evidence from that case was due for transferal. This can't be attributed to mere coincidence.
Are you forgetting something? You know, a little scene I happened to witness.
The instant Lena stabbed Detective Goodman with a knife.
No matter how much of the past you dig up, it won't change what I saw. Roast beef is meant to be savored when eaten.
Miss Star's hatred toward Lena. It all dates back to 2 years ago. Okay, you gonna tell us about it?
Joe Dark, that's not a name I'll forget soon. We trailed him for half a year. Oh, the pressure. Still, I don't think I was even ever more alive than I was then. Those days were steamier than a hot bowl of gravy. Poor old Jake Marshall, though, must have been going through hell.
You mean because of his brother's death?
They were close, those two. After Neil died, something took over Jake. He became obsessed. Seeing Jake like that made her all the more desperate.
Her?
Lena Sky,
My sister?
the best of the best to put in that SL9 case. Of course, they were led by that legendary duo.
Lena and Chief Gant. Okay.
The legendary pair was the reason we were able to keep up our investigation. That's why we were so shocked over how it turned out.
You mean with the forging of the evidence?
Don't get me wrong, Joe Dark got what he deserved. Still, it was obvious the evidence produced in court was being manipulated. Items our team never found would suddenly appear, while other items were kept secret.
But you don't have proof anything illegal was done.
I'm proof enough of what happened. After that case, all of us save Goodman were relieved of our duties. Most without even so much as an explanation. Then Lena Sky transferred to the prosecutor's office and became chief prosecutor.
Lena always wanted to be a prosecutor.
Nothing's quite as simple as it appears.
Huh?
Lena Sky was merely being used as a pawn. That's my take on the matter.
She was being used? Being used. Lena transferred to the prosecutor's office 2 years ago, didn't she?
Yes, thanks to Chief Gant's powerful influence.
Chief.
That's right. Having solved the SL9 case, his position as chief was secured. There was only one thing left for him to control, and then no one could stand in his way. The prosecutor's office.
What? You mean that's why Lena was transferred?
If he could control the prosecutor, he could control the prosecutor's office. That must have been his goal all along.
But how can he control Lena?
I don't know, but one thing's for sure. Ever since that case ended, she's never been the same. It's only logical to conclude there must have been a reason for her change.
At last. I'm finally getting close to the bottom of this ugly mess. Thank you, Miss Star.
You listen to me, rookie. It takes more than just ingredients to create fine cuisine. I hope you turn out to be a better chef than I've been.
I'll just hear about the legendary duo real quick.
Can't lead the investigation with St. Lena second in command. They were the best.
They solved all kinds of cases together, didn't they?
Damon Gant's magneticism in particular was almost unreal.
Or, sorry, not magnetism, not magneticism.
By that I mean his ability to attract evidence. He produced the most incredible evidence in the cases he handled.
Incredible evidence? You mean...
Oh yes, there were rumors about him even back then. No one dared confront him though.
I take it she's talking about forged evidence.
Back then, everyone looked up to Lena. All the detectives wanted to be like her.
Really?
Oh yes, myself included. I was a fool, really. She hated anything crooked, and I always watched out for the other detectives. That's why she was so concerned for Jake.
Mr. Marshall.
When Jake's brother was murdered, she felt as if she had lost her own brother. If it wasn't for her, I don't think Jake would ever have recovered from his shock. That's what makes it all the more infuriating.
Miss Star.
That's why I'll never be able to forgive her. Why did she have to turn so cold after that?
Alright then. Well, let's go back to the police department and give Gumshoe this letter of resignation. Maybe this'll... You're still here?
I gotta make 150 copies of these files. Brewing coffee, copying files. I'm turning into a regular DJ.
You're a DJ as well? If I'm not mistaken, I think he means desk jockey. Oh, that DJ.
Gotta admire your persistency, but my answer's still no. I'm not letting you into the chief's office, period. You'd be my knock on the line.
That office is the last crime scene in the SL9 incident. I have to take a look in there. There's gotta be something we can do to make the detective change his mind. Yeah, we can just show him this.
What's this crumpled up piece of paper? No way! Mr. Edgeworth can't be serious.
Is he ever not serious?
I can't believe they pushed him this far.
Mr. Edgeworth really feels responsible.
When I first met him, I thought he was cold as ice too. But I know different now. He trusted us detectives to provide him with sound evidence. But we betrayed him.
Detective.
That's it. I've made up my mind.
But
Here, take my ID card.
we can't do that if someone found out. They wouldn't let you off the hook without another lost item report.
Look at me. It's no secret I'm already out of the loop. After all, I'm friends with Mr. Edgeworth. Depending on how this case turns out, I may already be as good as terminated.
What?
So at least let me do this, for Mr. Edgeworth's sake.
Alright, detective, thank you. Okay. No, don't investigate the freaking attorney's badge. Let's go. Quickly. Go to the chief's office. It's time to finally uncover the truth! February 24th, Police Department, Chief's Office. Here goes, Mr. Wright. Okay, the first thing we gotta do is open that safe. We're in! If anyone finds us now, Detective Gumshoe's a goner.
If that happens, I'm counting on you to bail me out. Eek! Ugh!
Sorry, I thought you were a ghost.
I didn't even know you could slap a ghost.
Ah, Detective Gumshoe! What are you doing sneaking up on us like that?
I wasn't sneaking. I was just worried something might go wrong. So I came too.
If you're here, then what the point in giving us your ID card? Gumshoe's ID card crushed and rendered unusable in pocket.
Hey, don't do that to my card. I hardly ever get a chance to come in here, so I figured I'd have a look around myself. Besides, we're all in this together now.
You really do want to get fired, don't you?
Not if we're lucky. Now come on, let's see what we can find out.
I've got a bad feeling about this. Okay. Can we talk to you? Yes, we can. That desk on the other side of the room, was that your sister's? Yes, that's where I was waiting for Lena. On that day 2 years ago. Is anyone using it now?
No, sir, this is entirely Chief Gant's office now. He practices a strict policy of preserving the crime scene.
That's a strange reason to leave it there.
He leaves it as a warning to everyone else, who wants us to always be alert. He told us so himself at our New Year's party. Of course, he was pretty intoxicated at the time.
I see. So ever since Lena left, no one ever touches that desk?
No one except Chief Gant and that cleaning lady who's in here each morning.
Still, 2 years have passed since that incident. There can't possibly be any clues remaining. Well, I mean, there is a safe over there, and I kind of want to know what's in the safe.
Can I ask you something?
Sure.
You only came here to look around, right? Because it's one of the SL9 crime scenes. I mean, that's your only reason for coming here, isn't it?
Why do you ask?
You don't think? Nah, you wouldn't be. No. No, there's no way. Never mind, don't worry about it.
Okay, now let's look around a bit more.
Hey, hold on. Not so fast, buddy.
Huh? What is it?
When someone tells you don't worry about it, it's supposed to start bothering you, pal. You don't just let it go like that.
Sorry, this guy's starting to get on my nerves. Okay, so what's bothering you?
You two don't think. Chief Gant,
Of course he's a suspect. Of course he's a suspect. He's literally the only person who could have killed Bruce Goodman. What do I think of him? Perhaps it's best I don't divulge my feelings yet.
there you go, ignoring me again.
Okay, I want to open that safe. Open the safe. This is a safe, isn't it?
Safe, that word is right with intrigue.
Okay, if you say so. It looks like a code needs to be entered in this panel to open it. A 7-digit number. Oh, okay. Okay, well, if it's a 7-digit number, step aside and make way for Prince Ali, because I'm pretty sure, if I'm correct, there's only one number it could possibly be. Come on, please, work. Boom! The safe has been opened! Bingo. What number did you enter?
Whose birthday was that, pal?
777-7777. The final ID card number on that record. What? The number of the mysterious executive officer who entered the room that day.
You mean 77777? That ID number?
I think you're 1 7 shy this time. This can only mean one thing. That's Chief Gant's ID number. Say, anyone care to look inside? Absolutely.
Is there any money in there? How much does he have stashed away?
Look, it's a, aha! The other piece of the jar! Why do you have the other piece of the jar? That makes no sense. None at all. Like, actually none. Okay. Great. Does someone look familiar? We've ever seen this before. There has to be something else in here, too. What's this? It looks like a piece of leather cloth. With a handprint on. Ooh, are we gonna get a fingerprint? This is a handprint, isn't it?
Hey, I saw someone wearing a shirt like that once. Think the chief made up the design?
I don't think so.
Oh, well, it was just a thought.
Is that it? Is that was all that was in the safe? Apparently so, it's empty now.
A piece of cloth with a handprint on it and a broken shard from a cup.
They look like pieces of evidence.
Yeah, but unless you can prove they have something to do with this case, I'm afraid I can't just let you take them. After all, it's my neck on the line here.
Well, I mean, I can prove at least one of them. It's gotta be something. Yeah, we can. I can prove that that piece is related to it because it's just the other. It's the remaining piece of this. Detective Gumshoe, could you have a look at this jar?
I remember when the three of us put that back together. Ah, those were the days.
It's kind of early to be nostalgic. Wasn't this jar a piece of evidence from that case?
That's right. One of the shards had an SL9 incident sticker on it.
Does this ring any bells? You know that fragment we just found?
You mean this one that was in the safe?
Yes, that one.
No, you mentioned it's ringing a lot of bells. Let's see if it fits.
Of course we're gonna assemble the fragments. Here, let me see that chart. I'll take a crack at this.
Go ahead, pal. Show us what a rookie can do.
Mr. Wright, here's some glue. If I can piece this together again, it'll prove Gyakuten was knowingly hiding evidence. Here goes. Okay. Rotate it this way, and that should go in. Yep, perfect. There. It fits like a charm. That, of course, means Gyakuten willingly and knowingly hid this bit. Yes, but again, why though? Like, actually, why though? What reason do you have for hiding that specific piece of evidence? You can steal a piece of evidence in the SL9 incident, but...
Hey guys, get a load of this.
What is it?
This piece you just attached. It's different from the others.
There's a reddish line on it. A reddish line. That's blood.
I don't get it. Why would Chief can't hide this in a safe?
Yeah, neither do I. It makes actually no sense. Okay, we have to prove the cloth, right? Well, I guess we can just... Maybe if we get a fingerprint, that'll probably convince us. Where's the fingerprinting set? Here it is. Detective Gumshoe, I'd like you to have a look at this.
Hey, I know what that is. So you want to take some fingerprints?
That's a great idea, Detective.
Alright, go to town. Sheesh.
What are you doing? Why are you sticking out your hand like that?
Go ahead, take my fingerprints.
It's not your fingerprints we want to take.
Huh?
Come on, this isn't the time for jokes. We're talking about that cloth we found in the safe.
Oh, I knew that. The one with the handprint on it, right? Sheesh, where's your sense of humor?
Okay. Okay, Mr. Wright, let's check for prints. Sprinkle the powder on the cloth, then once they've been absorbed into the prints, blow the rest away. What are you, my mom? I don't have to be told a million times. Alright, let's get this over with. This one's probably the clearest one. And now we do the dusting thing. That should be good enough. Got it. Okay. Nah, that made too much sense. It wouldn't be you. It's not yours. Not yours. Not yours. Definitely not yours. Not yours. Your who? Emma? No, there's no way. No. How can this be? What are Emma's fingerprints? Oh. I think I might have just figured it out. Okay. I can't explain. Wait a second. Wait a second. Wait a second. Can I look at the thing? Hold it. Wait. Let me look at this jar. I don't know. I have no idea why he would have concealed this. But remember how we were confused as to how Chief Gyakuten would be able to control Land of Sky? What if the reason why Lena was so determined to murder, or to say that she murdered Bruce Goodman was because Chief Gyakuten wanted her to do it, and the only reason she would have been that determined was to protect her sister. Does this follow? So, Chief Gyakuten takes a cloth from the scene of the crime with Emma's fingerprints on it, right? And then she uses that as leverage, like, hey, look, I know your sister did this. I know your sister actually did this. And that would explain why the prints, or why the murder weapon didn't line up with the wound. If Emma actually did it, And he's like, hey, look at this fingerprints. I can prove that Emma did this. I can send her away for a long time, unless you help me. And then he has permanent control over everything Lena does. Is that it? Is that it? I think that might be it. That makes perfect sense. Like, that actually just makes perfect sense. Hey, you found a match? Whose fingerprints were they? Huh? It seems the prints are too old. They aren't clear enough to get a match. Oh, too bad. I thought they'd be Dark's prints.
Psst! Hey you, over here! What's going on here? What are the kids' prints doing inside the chief's safe?
Don't ask me. Let's just keep this information from Emma for now.
Here, maybe you should hold on to this.
Piece of cloth folded and added to the court record. Okay. The only other thing that I know happened here is I know that he put something in his desk. Wow! Look at the size of Chief Gant's desk. Speaking of that, when we were here earlier... Oh, it's you two! He put that paperwork where he was reading in his desk. I wonder what he was reading.
This looks like a list of evidence.
A list of evidence?
In most cases, the list runs twice as long as this, though.
Hey, look at the case name.
Huh? SL9 incident. I wonder what this is doing here.
Hold on, detective, what did you just say?
I said, I wonder what...
No, about the evidence list. Normally they're twice as long.
That's right. I guess there wasn't a lot of evidence.
A half-size list of evidence.
List of evidence. It seems too short. Most lists run twice as long.
What would the other half of the list be doing here? I knew it. The chief must be hiding something about that case. It would appear so. Evidence list added to the court record.
Well, was I any help?
Of course. Thanks to your ID card, we were able to get some hard evidence.
No, that's not very kind, is it? In other words, if it wasn't for his ID card, he would have been useless. Isn't that right, you in the coat?
Chief Gant!
We didn't think you'd be back so soon.
Fortunately, I'm a man who believes in signs. As I was walking to my meeting, I happened to look out a window and saw a stray dog run into a pole. This then I thought of a certain detective.
Do you mean me, sir?
Now then, I'm afraid I'm going to have to ask you all to leave.
Yes, sir. Sorry.
Oh, you in the coat.
Me, sir?
Turn off your ID on the way out. You won't be needing it anymore.
But, sir!
Now get out.
Yes, sir!
We'll be on our way too then.
Wait, you, the one with the spiky hair. Don't go yet.
Me, sir?
I'd like a word with you.
But sir, I'm not a licensed...
You with the spiky hair. You're free to go.
But Mr. Wright!
Look, pal, if I've told you once, I've told you 1,000 times. The chief's office is off limits. But no, you just had to go sneaking in there like that, didn't you?
I thought you said you didn't care anymore if you were fired.
Yeah, but if I knew it'd be like this, I never would have said it.
Now that I've seen the evidence Chief Gant was hiding in his office, I think I'm finally starting to get the picture. But why is she kept eerily silent about it all this time?
Anyway, you listening to me? I'm gonna try to smooth things over with the chief again. Later, pal.
Okay. After that, I heard from Emma. She said the police wanted to ask her some questions, so she'll be busy for the rest of the day. February 24th, Detention Center Visitor's Room. Hey, Lena! I think I might have figured out your big secret. I see. So the chief asked Emma to come in for questioning? It's no use thinking about it. Tomorrow's the final day in court. I'm committed to doing everything I can to defend you, which is why I'm here. But I've already told you all I can. What you've told me over these past couple of days is absolutely nothing. Not a single useful thing. Really? I believe I did mention something quite important. Something I told you right at the beginning. I said that I was the one who stabbed Detective Goodman. You know, I think I finally figured it out. I know who it is that's lurking behind your words. Mia did a good job mentoring you. I'm rather jealous. It seems Edgeworth was right. Edgeworth? Once you're convinced you know something, no one can persuade you otherwise. Thick-headed is the term he used, I believe. That was my chance to get her to tell me the rest of the story. Alright, Lena, out with it. I know everything. I have to admit I was a little perplexed at first. You insisted you did it, yet there was no incriminating evidence. That's when it hit me. It's not that you're unwilling to tell the truth. It's that you're incapable of doing so because of a certain individual. What an intriguing notion. A certain individual, you say? So you think I'm protecting this person? Protecting? No. I think afraid of is more like it. If I'm not mistaken, the person in question may have persuaded you to silence. For argument's sake, Mr. Wright, Who, may I ask, is this person you're speaking of? It is... Oh, how convenient. The first one on the list. Well, Miss Sky. Mr. Wright, you are addressing the chief prosecutor. Do not forget your place. Oh, don't worry. I haven't. I take it she's not ready to spill the beans. My apologies. Could you please tell me a bit more about what you think you know? We were partners until 2 years ago. I respected him as a detective. Assuming he is respectable, then tell me something. Why would he try to hide his crimes? His crimes? Both you and Edward will be brought before a board of inquiry for what you did. Specifically, hiding and forging evidence. Of course, these are serious offenses. Why is it, though, that Chief Gant's name was never mentioned? Chief Gant? Edgeworth didn't know the truth behind the forgery. The only party who could have possibly tampered with the evidence was me. I had access because I was second in command of that investigation. Yes, you, but also one other, Damon Gant. If you intend to accuse Chief Gant, you'll need more than just words. Show me proof that Chief Gant falsified evidence in that case. I mean, we can show her the jar, because, you know, he was hiding a part of it. I just found this in a safe in the chief's office. This jar piece and this piece of cloth. Do you know what these are? They're pieces of evidence from the SL9 incident. The person concealing evidence was none other than Chief Gant himself. Now tell me, why are you taking all the blame for him? Touché, Mr. Wright. It's as you surmised. I cannot disobey the chief's orders, even if it means being found guilty for murder. Why not? Come now, Mr. Wright. You can't possibly expect me to be able to tell you that. 3 days ago, I had no choice but to cooperate in the murder of Detective Goodman. Or perhaps I should say, follow orders. Yes, that's more accurate than cooperate. Although I can't tell you the details, I can say that I was given an order that day.
I need you to dispose of Bruce Goodman's body. You'll find it inside the trunk of Miles Edgeworth's car.
Just as I suspected. Despite what everyone believes, you were not the one who murdered Detective Goodman. Correct. I was trying to take the body out of Edgeworth's car. The trunk's lock was broken, and I discovered that murder weapon while inspecting the body. The murder weapon? You mean Edgeworth's knife? No. When I found the body, this was the knife stuck in it. The knife from the SL9 incident, serial killer Joe Dark's knife. I couldn't just leave that knife in him, so I took it out and stabbed him with another knife. That would be Edgeworth's knife? That's right. Even though he was already dead, my hands were shaking at the thought of stabbing him. That's why I ended up cutting my hand. And that is the reason for the bandage on your right hand? Yes. It seems that I got blood on the victim's shoes as well. And then she saw me just as I plunged the knife in. Miss Starr, huh? Why did you need to hide Dark's knife so badly? It took a lot of work to finally close the Dark case 2 years ago. It was over with. I didn't ever want it to be opened again. My intent was to prevent that by whatever means possible. So, you hid Dark's knife? The weapon used to stab the detective was evidence in the Joe Dark case. If word got out, which it would, the reporters would have a field day with that. So you wrapped the knife in your scarf and hid it. In Edgeworth's exhaust pipe? Right. Then I called my sister. To tell her what happened and to ask her to hide the knife that was inside my muffler. You asked Emma? I didn't want anyone on the force to know about this. That would explain why Emma is so confident about Lena's innocence. Speaking of phone calls, I had a bad feeling about one of them that day. A bad feeling? The truth is, after I received those orders from Chief Gant, the first thing I did was make a phone call. A phone call to patrolman Jake Marshall. To Marshall? Why on earth would you call him? The lead investigator for the SL9 incident had been murdered. I wanted that fact to be kept hidden, and I needed help. He was the only other person I could trust. Or at least, I thought I could trust him at the time. However, it seems that after I spoke to him, he went off on an escapade of his own. Oh, you mean, not wanting the case to die, he decided to take things into his own hands. He disguised himself as Detective Goodman and tried to steal the evidence. He had already stolen the ID card, but it seems he still hadn't made up his mind to break into the evidence room. After my phone call, any remaining doubts he had must have disappeared. So your phone call caused the incident in the evidence room? I'm afraid that's all I can tell you. But Lena, you've earned my respect, Mr. Wright, both as a defense attorney and an investigator. Now please, Don't pursue this any further in court tomorrow, because she knows I'm onto her. She knows that I know. Tomorrow's trial, there's only one way to drive off Layman's demons. I've got to get to the bottom of everything. Detective Goodman's real murderer. And what went down in the chief's office 2 years ago. To be continued. I think we got it. I think this time we got it. Wait, one music? We're closing in. We're closing in on the truth. It's gotta be that. It's gotta be that. Because that explains literally everything. It explains why Elena would be so determined to keep this hidden. It explains how Gang would be able to control her, and it explains why she was moved so suddenly to prosecutor's office. It explains why he would keep that one specific piece of cloth, because it has Emma's fingerprints on it. And it explains why the wound doesn't match up with the knife. It explains everything. Now we just gotta prove it tomorrow in court. But if we do that, then that puts her in trouble. Okay. That's it for this episode. So thanks for watching. Stay tuned for next time. I hope to catch you all on Tuesday for some more Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney. Goodbye.